Dustin Poirier claims he fell victim to the wrong mentality in Charles Oliveira's loss and vows to not repeat it against Michael Chandler. Dustin Poirier recently reflected on his loss to Charles Oliveira at UFC 269. During his appearance on the Daru Strom podcast, Poirier talked about his mindset leading into the lightweight title fight at UFC 269. The Diamond said that he treated himself as a professional athlete and the matchup as part of the sport, instead of treating the entire affair as a war. Poirier added that he has made amends and his mindset will be prepared for war in his upcoming bout against Michael Chandler.
I feel like a little bit of this last fight with Charles, December of last year, I kind of fell victim to that. I was looking at it like the whole camp and the whole process as more of an athletic venture, you know, and it's not, it's war, you know, it's war. And I kind of went about training camp that way, like a professional athlete, you know, and it is that to a certain point, but at the end of the day, we're fighting each other, you know, we're trying to physically hurt each other and stop each other. And, you know, not saying all the business stuff did get in the way, but it was just I went about that training camp in a different mindset, I feel. You know, and I can't even like really pinpoint or explain to you exactly what I think I did wrong mentally there, but I've tightened it up, and this is war. It's what it should be.
Poirier and Oliveira faced off at UFC 269. The Diamond did well in the opening round, but Du Bronze bounced back and scored a submission victory in the third round. Are you as excited as us to watch Chandler versus Poirier this weekend? Comment your predictions below. Masvidal claims Dustin Poirier will smoke Michael Chandler at UFC 281. Jorge Masvidal is a longtime training partner of Poirier at the American Top Team. He's been helping the Diamond prepare for his highly anticipated showdown against Chandler. During the UFC 281 countdown video, Gamebred made an appearance and had this to say about his teammate taking on Iron.
I've been watching Chandler for a very long time, phenomenal athlete, great wrestler. But I think Dustin smokes him in those like moments where the bullets are flying. Dustin finds a way always to remain calm and cool, and Dustin's gonna catch him.
The Poirier versus Chandler rivalry started when the two fighters got into a verbal altercation at UFC 276. Since then, the two haven't been able to get on the same page, adding to the hype around this stylistic masterpiece. The Diamond is currently a minus 175 betting favorite, with Iron as a plus 150 underdog according to DraftKings and FanDuel. Who do you think is going to win at UFC 281, Chandler or Poirier? Make your predictions in the comments. Israel Adesanya shares haunting plans for Alex Pereira. UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya not only wants to get revenge against Alex Pereira, but to do so in spectacular fashion. During a recent interview with TMZ Sports, Adesanya revealed whether or not he has any special plans for his walkout.
Nah, not really. This is business. Like the way I handle the cost of fight as well. I just walked out there and just did my thing.
Yeah,
I was business as usual. But I'll say I want to make this a horror movie. I'm gonna keep that theme. I want to make this a horror movie.
The last stylebender then gave a frightening prophecy for how he wants his fight with Pereira to end.
I want to be the first person he sees when he wakes up. I want to make sure I'm right in his line of sight, so when he wakes up, he's looking at me and then looking at the ref. I want to be the first person he sees when he wakes up. That's how I see this fight going.
Adesanya will look to right the wrongs of his glory kickboxing matches against Pereira. He lost a controversial decision to Pereira in 2016 before getting slept with a left hook in their rematch in 2017. Adesanya has been criticized for his fight style over his recent bouts, but he's promising an evocative show in the octagon against Pereira. And taking a break from the news, we would like to introduce a new segment to our channel called Our Take. Here we will be giving our opinion on some of the hottest topics in the mixed martial arts world in just under 1 minute. Let's not waste more time and get started. In today's edition of Our Take, we like Israel Adesanya to win this weekend at UFC 281 by split decision. His path to victory will be a conservative but intelligent approach to outpoint Alex Pereira throughout the 5 rounds. The last stylebender will try to go in and out, scoring points, and avoiding any clinches and close exchanges with Pereira, who is the most powerful striker of the two. It could be a boring fight, But Adesanya undoubtedly gets his hand raised at the end and overcomes his prior 2 defeats to Pereira and continues his dominant reign in the middleweight division to close out 2022 with 3 successful title defenses. But if by any chance Adesanya deviates from the game plan and starts going toe-to-toe with Pereira in close quarters combat, that can only mean an early night's work for the contender and would be the demise of Adesanya. Who do you think gets the victory at UFC 281? Will Adesanya retain his belt and get the revenge he seeks, or will Pereira crush him again? Let us know in the comments. Going back to the news, Colby Covington finds himself in a weird spot after Polyana Viana's latest claims. Last year, Colby Covington went out of his way to, without provocation, share intimate details about his relationship with former teammate Polyana Viana. When asked about why he did not step up to fight Leon Edwards on short notice in March of last year, the brash welterweight said the following.
There wasn't much talks, I was busy, balls deep in Polyana Viana, so to get me out off the couch in 3 weeks notice to fight some Leon Scott guy, it was going to be a price tag, I wanted a little bit more than was in my contract. I just wasn't going to show up for a normal paycheck to fight that guy. For me to come up and show that up on short notice and fight that guy. When
inevitably asked about Covington's remarks, Viana did not directly deny Covington's lewd revelation, saying instead that she felt sorry for those who act so low to try to promote themselves, and called Covington's comments revolting. Since then, there have not been any new developments on the Covington and Viana front. Covington has passingly doubled down that he had consensual, no-strings-attached fun with Viana, while Viana has not publicly spoken of Covington since last year. That all changed Saturday night when this time, it was she who decided to share some interesting details about her relationship with Covington out of the blue. Colby wanted me to him in the but I did not want to. He got upset. Whether this was part of a larger, more comprehensive rejection of Covington's advances, or just one specific sexual act she was uncomfortable with is unclear. Belal Muhammad claims he's not impressed by Colby Covington's resume and wants Khamzat Chimaev next. Belal wants the opportunity to face Khamzat after calling out the Chechen fighter for the better part of the past 2 years, even in the aftermath of his win over Brady in Abu Dhabi. Muhammad heard the UFC was targeting Khamzat against Colby Covington in early 2023. It's just a matchup he doesn't see happening.
I do not think Colby's going to be fighting. Colby's out here hiding. He's doing his own little thing. He's definitely not fighting Khamzat. The people talk about him like he's the next big thing, but who has he beaten that's won? He's beating Masvidal on a 3-fight losing streak. He's beating Woodley on a 5-fight losing streak. Everybody he's fought and won, they're all coming off losing streaks. The only fight he had a good fight against was Usman, and then he ended up getting finished in that fight. Other than that, everybody else has been losses. He hasn't been fighting these top guys. I just beat Luque, that was on a 7-fight winning streak, and I just beat this guy who's on a 15-fight winning streak. I'm the only one fighting guys that are on winning streaks.
Covington has largely stayed silent for the past 6 months after defeating Jorge Masvidal in March. Lately, the 2-time welterweight title challenger has been fighting Masvidal in court after the two got into a physical altercation. The Street Judas was charged with multiple felonies, including aggravated battery and criminal mischief. But the court case has been delayed several times as prosecution and defense teams work through various issues before a potential trial. None of that would necessarily prevent Covington from competing again, but the always outspoken fighter hasn't made any public statement about his return to action since the incident occurred. Interestingly, his attorneys have claimed he suffered a brain injury in Masvidal's alleged attack. Belal doesn't understand why Covington continues to be ranked in the welterweight division, given what he considers a less than impressive resume. Sean O'Malley responds to Bryce Mitchell's warning with 5 words. Like most of the post-fight scorekeepers having little faith in O'Malley, Mitchell was one of many fighters who felt Jan would win before the event. In response to Mitchell's prediction of a Jan victory, O'Malley insinuated inbreeding leading to his birth. To the surprise of virtually no one, Mitchell didn't respond in kind to O'Malley's comments. He hinted that if he and O'Malley came face-to-face in person, he would take care of Suga. In a recent tweet, O'Malley changed course on his earlier remarks. Never call Bryce an inbred, O'Malley wrote. While O'Malley didn't outright call Mitchell an inbred, his comments didn't exactly hint at anything different, which is likely why Mitchell reacted so soundly. O'Malley has hinted at a future move to featherweight, making an eventual matchup with Mitchell not out of the question. His falling short of apologizing to Mitchell will likely do little to extinguish Mitchell's fire. What do you make of the Sean O'Malley and Bryce Mitchell beef? Ranked bantamweight accuses Umar Nurmagomedov of getting preferential treatment because of his last name. Just 3 fights into his UFC career, Umar Nurmagomedov is already making enemies in the bantamweight division. Anatomy of a Fighter creator Will Harris is closely associated with Khabib Nurmagomedov's team. He tweeted about Umar Nurmagomedov's hunger and desire to take on higher-ranked fighters. I had a convo with Umar Nurmagomedov the other day at the USCPI, and you can tell on his face the frustrations of fighters avoiding him. It was the first time I really saw that from a fighter up close. He really wants a top opponent to get closer to the belt. Harris tweeted. Number 11 ranked bantamweight Ricky Timon did not take kindly to Harris' observation and accused Nurmagomedov of benefiting off his famous last name. Yeah, that's what we all want. He has 3 fights in the UFC and wants to skip the line. He already got ranked without beating a ranked opponent. He will keep getting preferential treatment because of his last name. The American fighter tweeted, "Do you think the Nurmagomedov family gets preferential treatment from the UFC? Let us know what you think in the comments." That's all for today's video. If you want to know the latest UFC news, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell, and click the like button so you don't miss any details about the upcoming fights. Thanks for watching. See you soon.